It's Tuesday, March 24th, 2020. Digital Trends Live is about to start. Here are some of the topics we're covering on today's episode of the show from my house. So the latest event cancellation because of the threat of coronavirus is the biggest of them all, with an official announcement from the IOC that the Olympic Games have been postponed, and a number of social media platforms are adapting to the new era of social distancing by adding new features, such as Instagram's Browse with Friends option. And esports were set to make a major debut at the Olympics this year, but with the cancellation, what happens next? We'll have Logitech G's head of esports, Brent Berry, on to discuss just that. And with the new quarantine rules taking place, it means that you can no longer go to the gym. So now's the time to start setting up at home. And our own John Velasco will join the show to talk about some smart home products that can help you do just that. All of that and more on today's episode of Digital Trends Live. Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. Thanks so much for joining us wherever you're watching. We do appreciate it. We broadcast live here every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, bringing you trending tech headlines, news, interviews, discussions, and so much more, all while broadcasting live across a number of different platforms. We're on Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Dailymotion, Apple News, 2 different mobile apps, a smart television app, and at digitaltrends.com/live. So thanks for joining us. Whatever platform, drop in. Let us know what you want to talk about. Let us know your comments on the stories that we're bringing you. We are broadcasting, once again, remotely from my living room. That is where we're at right now, and we will be here throughout all of this, bringing you this show. So thanks for joining us. Hit subscribe. Let's get into it right now, though, and bring you some trending news, and certainly nothing is bigger right now than the Olympics being canceled. We know that the threat of coronavirus has canceled virtually every event, starting way back in January, leading up through this to now. The Olympic Committee had been kind of stalwarts in not canceling the event and not even saying they were going to postpone. So I guess I should rephrase, not canceled, but postponed is what it is. But certainly for 2020, the events are not going to happen. So this is a joint statement that came out from the IOC, from Tokyo 2020, and also from the Prime Minister of Japan, who they all say that this is something that, taking into account all of the issues that are happening with coronavirus, they cannot continue with the games as planned. There were a number of countries that were already backing out and saying they should be canceled, and quite honestly, at this point, that's probably the right thing to do. They did say, though, it's as I was rephrasing there, not canceled, but postponed. They said to no later than summer 2021. So that kind of leaves a little leeway to see how things go, how things shake out here as we battle this thing, and ideally for them, it looks like maybe this would take place in 2021. There's certainly a lot on the line for it. I mean, over $12 billion, it's estimated, was spent just on this Olympics alone. So you have to hope that, for them, that this is something that they can recover in that line. But this is the same as we've seen with all of these different events. It's just something that you can't have in this era of social distancing to make sure that we're being safe. The Olympics falling victim to that too. So that's something you can read more about at digitaltrends.com. And as we go through here, we're going to give you some rapid fire news, and let's talk about a couple other things. So I did want to bring this up. A lot of tech companies, adapting, specifically online companies, and the gig economy is one that is actually hiring right now. So for a lot of people out there who are out of work in the service industry, there's a couple of news things here that I think would be of interest. Instacart, which is a grocery delivery service. If you've never done it, it's where they send out a shopper for you. They pick up the items that you order, and then they deliver them to your house. They said that they're going to be hiring 300,000 more full-time service workers over the next 3 months. So that is a huge increase, and that's to keep up with the surge in demand for people as they're quarantined at home or staying at home, to have somebody go out there and do the shopping. They have options where they deliver them to your doorstep and then walk away, and so that way there's no human-to-human interaction with it. But 300,000 people being hired for that, so that's definitely a big boon right there. You also have NYC, New York City, which is hiring a lot of people who were out of work when it comes to Uber and Lyft. Certainly a lot of people aren't taking those right now, and that includes taxi and limousine drivers. So the New York City Taxi and Limousine Commission is looking for ways of assisting these gig workers by bringing them on to help deliver food and medical supplies. So that's something that's really interesting that NYC is doing. They said that they would be able to deliver, meals to those stuck at home, with the work set to prioritize senior citizens. So this is to bring food to them, and it actually, it's another way to get some people some employment right now in this really uncertain time. So that is something that New York City is doing as well. So trying to bring that in there when we talk about the gig economy and what they can do for it. Continuing on here with our trending news, and again, just trying to keep you up to date as quick as we can here on what's happening in association with tech. A lot of online media platforms are adapting, and Yelp is now partnering with GoFundMe. So Yelp and GoFundMe partnering to help out local businesses. Now, certainly we probably all know some local businesses who have been affected by this, who have either, in particular, restaurants and bars, but now a lot more businesses are being shut down at the same time. And this is something that they want to do in order to actually help out. So they've got now on Yelp, when you go to some of these local businesses, they said it's going to be for restaurants, nightlife, beauty, and fitness businesses with fewer than 5 locations. So they want to specify that it's local businesses that are getting help. They're going to have a donate button on there. That donation button can certainly provide some extra income. So they said that they partner with GoFundMe for this, and they've pledged to match up to $1 million in donations. So that's a pretty nice boon. It's something else that Yelp is doing again to help out some of these businesses. So you can check out that at digitaltrends.com. And as we give you this rapid fire news here to make sure that you are up to date with what's happening, let's talk about this one. Instagram making some big changes today, or actually adding some extra features. And this is all in lines with the idea of social distancing. We're not next to our friends and family anymore. So how can we connect? Well, through social media. And this is something they've launched, one of these being Browse with Friends. So this is a new option that's going to be available on Instagram, to where if you start a live video chat with somebody, a live video message, you can then both browse at the same time together. So it's another example of these companies trying to bring people together, trying to figure out different ways to bridge the gap. We've got a lot of different things that have popped up out there, things like Netflix Party and all these other ones, but this is Instagram's move. Also something they are adding in with that is a new way to get out more information about what's going on in association with the CDC, try to stop the spread of misinformation. A few things that they listed: they'll have more educational resources in Instagram search. So if somebody does search for that, they'll have stickers that are going to promote accurate information, so it'll verify that somebody's providing accurate information. They're removing COVID-19 content and accounts from recommendations unless posted by a credible health organization. So be sure you're aware of that. If you're posting something and using that hashtag or putting that in there, there's a good chance that's going to get taken down, because they really want health organizations and reputable sources to be the ones that are posting about that. So that's something that Instagram is doing. And continuing on here with one more trending topic that I want to get to you. This has to do with Pinterest even getting into this with the launch of a new Today tab. So this is something that's going to show up on your Pinterest account. It's going to be a new tab. It's something they've been talking about launching actually for a while, but now they've gone ahead and done it already. So what they said is it's going to feature expert information from the World Health Organization and Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, on topics like hand washing during the coronavirus epidemic over the following weeks. They'll also show different ideas for kid-friendly baking. A lot of people with their kids at home now, they have work-from-home setups. They have family favorite movies, comfort food recipes, and more. So all these are things that can, help out. Again, as we're adapting to this life at home, this is something that Pinterest is doing in association with that. So you can check that out on there. It's certainly something that we're seeing, again, a lot of social media platforms, a lot of online platforms adapting to this and trying to make sure that accurate information is out there, but also that they're providing different things for you to do since we're all at home right now. But that is the newest update from Pinterest, and you can go to digitaltrends.com to read more about that.
Hey, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's now time for the product of the day.
All right, well, since we are at home, and I want to tell you about this, we have the product of the day. Now, everybody working at home, you're going to want to get a good set of headphones, and that's what I'm talking about today with these. These are some primo noise-canceling headphones. Now, on our review, these are the Sony, I'm going to get the actual name correctly, it's the Sony WH-1000XM3. Now, with our review with Caleb Dennison, he gave these 9 out of 10 because of how good they are. I can say I tried these on even without powering them on, and they're already pretty tremendously noise canceling, but with this digital noise canceling on top of it, it's really, really amazing. So they are also Alexa enabled, so you've got all of that activities on there, all the Alexa enabled activities. You also have a couple of different things that it can do. It can do ambient noise canceling, so it'll understand what's going on with the environment that you're in and can adapt to that to provide you the best noise canceling. I know there's probably a lot of people at home, and we did talk about a lot of people at home with their kids, maybe you need to cancel out some of that noise a little bit. This would probably be a way to do that. So again, these are the Sony 1000 XM3 headphones. You can get these right now for a really good deal. So if you click that link below, take advantage of that. And it's certainly something that I think a lot of us would want to invest in right now, and that's the Sony headphones. So right now they're $248, normally $349, so a really good deal, about $100 off there. And check that out. That is our product of the day. All right, we're going to continue on here with Digital Trends Live. And again, thank you everybody for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate it. And we want to bring you all kinds of information and news to go along with this show. And up next, I'm really excited about our interview. So we're going to have Brent Barry from Logitech G. He's the head of esports for them. And esports was set to be featured at the Olympics this year. Obviously, that's going to change in some capacity. We'll find out how, what it means for esports, and what the future is. All of that's coming up next. So stick around back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and thank you very much for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. We'd like to keep you up to date with what is going on in the news. And certainly today, the announcement of the postponement, at minimum, of the Olympics is certainly some big news. But there's a component of that that I was really looking forward to seeing. We're going to talk about that right now, and that is the esports component of it. So what does this mean for that? What's the future of esports have in hold for this? Well, we're going to talk about that right now with Brent Barry, who is the head of esports for Logitech G. Brent, thank you very much for joining us. And I wonder if maybe just to start off, if you could walk us through what role esports was going to have with this Olympics and how this change is affecting that.
Yeah, this was a really exciting time to see esports getting included into things like the Olympics. The inclusion into the Olympic Games really kind of gave an opportunity for esports to really demonstrate to the world kind of what the competitive feel of electronic sports is like. So I think the opportunity is still there. I don't think this, really affects the trajectory of esports. There's going to be plenty of other opportunities, but especially in a world that's kind of it's affected by a pandemic like this. I think esports holds a natural spot in being able to continue entertainment.
Definitely, and we're certainly seeing examples of that are coming up too. And I want to talk about that specifically. Before I do, though, just for everybody to get a little bit more context, what was the esports role in the Olympics supposed to be? And I'm assuming it still will be once they do start back up. How was it going to be involved in it?
Yeah, there was going to be an inclusion of, all the details were not completely worked out, but the inclusion really was to have some of the games featured within the esports at at different levels depending on whether it was the Asian Games or the Olympics itself. So there was going to be an esports component, and it looks like that's of course not happening with the cancellation of the Olympics.
So talking about this, going forward, because certainly, like you said, esports has a really tremendously big role in entertainment, and particularly right now with, all of us trying to battle this pandemic, and we don't have a lot of traditional sports going on, or pretty much all canceled. You even have some traditional sports going to esports. We have NASCAR has been doing it, NBA players have been doing it, La Liga in Spain. What role do you see that esports can fill in this dearth of traditional athletics that we have right now?
Yeah, I mean, this is a hard time for everybody. I think the thing about esports, and with all of these different leagues coming, being able to come in, really, it fills that natural gap. As people are shut in, everybody's looking for different routes of entertainment, of ways to escape, and competitive sport is one of those huge things that just kind of fills that need. Esports is unique. The community has been around for a long time, a lot longer than many people might be aware of, and there's a really strong community feeling within esports. So I think it's great that we have people like NASCAR and F1 drivers and other sports that are embracing this digital connection, because I think it's what people really need right now. People want to feel connected to their communities, and competitive sport is a great way to do that.
Definitely. I mean, it really is one of those ways you can bring a lot of people together and still have competition factors in there, but really connecting with people as we're not physically anymore. This is a great way to do it, and I feel like it's a good opportunity too for more people to see it and get involved with it. As you mentioned, some of these traditional sports leagues being involved, but certainly people at home are as well. And I wanted to ask you too, just on the general trends. Whether it has anything to do with the pandemic or not, what have the general trends been with esports as far as what games, what platforms are most popular, and where do you see that going?
Yeah, there is so much breadth to the world of esports. Um, Traditionally, you had a lot of kind of real-time strategy type games and popular first-person shooters like Counter-Strike. There's been so much explosion though now in the different games that are out there and available for people to watch. Everything from Rocket League, which is basically soccer with remote control cars, to the racing simulations like F1 and NASCAR. There's a ton of different kinds of content and communities that are available. I mean, and the trend has only really been upwards. Um, the amount of audiences that are really getting engaged in the world of esports, the types of different content. I think e-racing is one of those that really can this is kind of an opportunity for people to see and kind of understand the power that something like sim racing has. You have professional drivers that are racing in simulations which are super close to reality, that are competing on real tracks, real competitions, and it can have that sense of fulfilling that same need. If you're a race fan, you should totally check out what's going on with sim racing. It's something that I think is as much potential as real racing. You have other games, other titles like League of Legends. League of Legends, everything kind of slowed down for a second as teams went into quarantine and isolation. But a lot of the leagues have picked back up. A lot of these players, as they come through kind of the amateur leagues, they're used to playing by themselves on their teams and being kind of remote. And so the leagues have picked up to online now, and we're seeing kind of again another explosion there in the availability of that as entertainment. There's a lot of competition that's happening and is available. The ESL Pro League, for example, for Counter-Strike is still going strong. That league has largely been an online league, except when you get to the major tournaments and finals. So there's so much cool opportunity. If you find yourself a little restless and and needing to get a fix of some competition, it's there, it's available, and it's been going strong. The growth potential for esports has always been there.
Yeah, I mean it's there's so much opportunity right now for it, and to get more people involved too. Like you said, just from watching it, but also participating. I know for a lot of even down to high schools are forming their own esports leagues. How have you seen that growth, and do you anticipate that being up there and rivaling some traditional sports?
Yeah, there's been a lot of interest in esports within kind of the amateur, high school, college level. We've been engaged with places like the University of California at Irvine, who've been pioneers kind of in the world of collegiate esports. I think it's really great. Once when you get over that barrier that these are games, and you really realize that competitive gaming requires a higher level of thinking, requires social engagement and interaction. Those kinds of things really build the skills that people and students need for kind of the future of our economies. There's a real positive piece to that. I think we'll see a lot of growth within high schools, with universities doing scholarship-based programs, and I think it's really positive. It gives students another outlet to explore opportunities for scholarship, but also it really brings people together. Being able to empathize and work together in a community are critical to being successful in team-based esports. And so those are skills that students will take with them for their life.
Yeah, that can translate across anything, and that's why I think it's really important, and such a great opportunity for esports right now. Not that the trajectory wasn't tremendous already, but it's certainly a lot more eyes on it now as people are finding other things to engage in and watch. And I want to let everybody know too. I mean, certainly Logitech G at the forefront with all of this. Where can I send people? Where would you recommend somebody who's new to it to go to first?
The kind of the biggest broadcaster for most esports for the past um, you know 5-10 years has been Twitch, and that's been one of the places where you can go and just kind of find what esports are happening, what teams are playing, what streamers are there, and you can find some really great communities. So that would probably be a good first stop, just to check out what's available, and get involved. There's a real opportunity if you're feeling shut in, feeling the need to kind of engage with other people. The streaming communities and esports competitions are a great way to do that.
Definitely. Well, Brent, I want to say thank you so much for joining us, and being a part of the show here today, and just sharing your knowledge. It's definitely a bummer about the Olympics, but it is going to go on in esports. Obviously, a tremendous upside and tremendous growth that's going to be happening with that. And I want to say thank you so much for joining us here for Digital Trends Live.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Really fascinating discussion right there, talking about esports and just what an important thing it is, and certainly today as we find out, the role it was going to have in the Olympics, but that's not going to be stopping that. So some really cool stuff there. We've got a lot of articles at digitaltrends.com too about that. I know we need to get to a break because we've got John Velasco who's going to be joining us next to talk about smart home products, but in particular, we can't go to the gym anymore, right? Everybody's now shut in at home. How do we get over that hump? And we're going to be talking about that next. So stick around, back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and again, thank you for joining us wherever you're watching. We appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button, share the show, because we'll be broadcasting throughout all of this right here from my living room. Yes, because I'm working at home, and so many of us are, which means we can't go to the gym anymore, which I used to do. Now I've got to figure out how to not get complacent with that and still be active. We're going to talk about that and more. Joining us right now, we've got John Velasco. John, thanks for joining us. I know you've got a great article and series here up at Digital Trends. Can you walk us through what this is and just maybe talk us through this from the beginning?
Yeah, Greg, thanks for having me. So yeah, we're all working from home. I'm working from home. You're working from home. But this piece that I wrote on digitaltrends.com was done a little bit while ago. I started going to gym earlier this year, and of course, the coronavirus started happening. So it made me really think about what to do if it got worse, and obviously it did. So I wrote this piece about how a home gym makes sense right now because with gyms and all, gyms are known as a breeding ground for germs. And there have been plenty of studies in the past that have shown this, particularly treadmills, bikes. Interestingly enough, they actually had more germs on them, more bacteria than a toilet seat from one study. And another study, they found staph bacteria in every sample. So we're talking about the handles, the weightlifting equipment, the bikes, treadmills. In all of those samples they tested, there was staph bacteria. So there's possibility of getting infections. There are some more serious cases with that. And, some of the best practices they tell you is to wipe down your equipment after you're done using them. And you'll probably see some signs while you're at the gym, when you were at the gym, about that. But a better practice is actually doing it before you start an exercise or workout, and also after. So you do it both times just to help out with the reduction of germs. But when I was at the gym the last time, this is probably 2 weeks ago, I made sure to wipe down the equipment before and after. But when I went to the bathroom and used the restrooms, another guy was there and he didn't wash his hands. So you can change the habits of people, which is, yes, I know it makes you wonder, especially now with all the talk, what's going on in the world with coronavirus and how we have to maintain distance and good hygiene. So it's just crazy. So this came to the realization.
Yeah.
So I came to the realization that yes, home gyms are definitely what you want to look at right now, and it makes sense. Obviously, it's a lot of the gyms are closed now. I know with where I'm at here, they're all closed. So we're moving towards this home gym scenario. And I actually got a chance to speak with a fitness advisor and also physiologist, Tom Holland. And he explained to me some of the benefits of having a home gym right now. Number one, less exposure. You're not going to be around people at the gym, strangers who don't have great hygiene habits. So the only people you're really exposed to when you're using a home gym is obviously whoever's in your home, your kids, your family. So that's the number one thing. So you're helping with that, helping the reducing the spread of this disease. And also, surprisingly enough, you don't need fancy equipment or state-of-the-art equipment to actually get in shape. You just need to do the fundamental stuff. So you could do basic exercises, as Tom told me. He said push-ups, sit-ups, running in place. These are just some of the fundamental exercises you could do. But if you do go down the route of owning a home gym, he does recommend one strength equipment and also cardio equipment. So you want to get a little bit of both. And the other thing about home gyms is that you save time, because if you're going to the gym, there's time spent going there and then time going back home. So let's say it takes 30 minutes to get to the gym for you normally. Now with a home gym, you just go to the next room, or if it's in your garage, you just go there, and that's it. You save time, and you really can't beat that. And home gyms in
Yeah.
general, they just give you a lot. And of course, now with the whole coronavirus going on, it's definitely going to be something that you'll see a lot of people do, and you're probably seeing it right now.
Yeah, I mean it's something that, I mean, thinking about going to the gym too, and I was the one who did go to the gym just because I wanted to get out of the house and do that. But yeah, there's some gross things that go on there. So people clipping their toenails in the gym locker room. I mean, it's just, so now that I'm thinking about it in this aspect, and you bring that up, I'm like, home gym actually sounds pretty good to start off. So I know with your article that you've got there, you've got some other recommendations too. But
Yes.
going from the basics, there are some more tech options that people can engage in. Maybe you could give us a couple examples of those.
Yeah, so there are a bunch of different ways to get in shape. Some of these high tech options include video games and, of course, cardio systems and also strength training. So, the first two I want to talk about here relate to video games. Nintendo Ring Fit, it was released not too long ago. And if you remember Wii Fit from the Nintendo Wii a few years back, this is basically an updated version of that. And you basically have this ring that you use in the game, and you use it to either squeeze or do some different reps, and you're doing a lot of cardio at the same time because you're playing along in the game. And there's also another one for virtual reality. There are virtual reality exercising games, and one of them is boxing VR, box VR. So you're basically in a virtual boxing situation. And you might think, yeah, it is a game. You're trying to beat your opponent, but at the same time, you're also working out because you're getting that cardio, moving around, getting your heart rate up. So those are two options there when it comes to cardio or video games. The second one here is just strictly cardio, traditional machines. We all know Peloton. You know Peloton. I've seen the commercials. I've never tried one, but it looks fun. If you like biking, that's an option for you. If you want something more traditional, let's say like a treadmill, look at the Nordic Track X32i. It's a comprehensive system. It basically will give you the inclines you want. It'll emulate walking up and down hills, different levels. So you have that. And the last two I want to mention here are kind of like smart home gyms. So they're the new type of gyms you could have at home, and they are kind of expensive. The first one I'm going to talk about here is Mirror. Mirror is basically what it is. It's a giant mirror. Kind of reminds me just like as if you were putting a giant iPad or tablet on your wall. And basically, you'll have your workouts. You're going to have someone training you. You're going to have classes, and they're just going to show you step by step, because it's one thing to watch a video, but if you're being guided, through it, something you don't have to worry about holding your phone. It's there in front of you. You could follow along a lot easier. And the other home gym, the smart home gym I'm going to talk about here is Tonal. Now, Tonal is interesting because it's actually placed on your wall. So you got to secure it. It's actually installed professionally. You're not going to be installing this yourself because it's a pretty big system. And this is for strength training. So they have pulleys and levers. So if you want to get that workout, build muscle, it's a system for you. These two options, both Mirror and Tonal, they do cost over $2,000. So that's something to think about. Again, you don't need all the bells and whistles to get in shape. You could just go with the fundamentals. But if you want to go something high tech, these are options for you.
Definitely interesting, to think about as far as where you can do everything from something simple all the way to. I kind of like the video game option. Actually, I kind of want to try that out. I've never done it before. Maybe I'll give that a shot. But a lot of suggestions on there, and the article is really great. Just kind of walking through all that. So for everybody at home who's trying to figure this out, we've got a solution for you. And John, as always, I want to say thank you so much for joining us here on Digital Trends Live.
Stay safe. Take care.
Yep, you too. So from living room to living room. All right, we've got one more thing here that we want to do today, and then we're going to talk to you about tomorrow, but we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We've got an episode of The Deets with Riley Wynn that we're going to air. It's about coronavirus and sports and how that is all affecting everything. Certainly, we've talked about esports here today, so that kind of feeds into this theme that we're discussing. So that's coming up next. Stick around back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live.
Yep, this is how I feel right now. It's a tough time to be a sports fan. Coronavirus has given humanity plenty to worry about over the past few weeks, and it's even managed to take away one of my favorite distractions. It's been over a week since we've had sports, and unfortunately, it seems like it's going to be that way for a while. If you're like me and you don't know what to do with yourself, don't hit the panic button just quite yet. These are the creative ways technology is giving sports fanatics their fix, despite the fact that practically all major sports have now been canceled. You're watching The Deets, a show where we demystify the technologies that are shaping the future. I'm your host, Riley Wynn. Streaming services are going to be your sports salvation during this pandemic. Now, we don't have a way to consume every sport, but we do have some alternatives for the major ones. The NBA season was postponed indefinitely on March 11th after the outbreak hit the league directly, with Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert and Utah Jazz guard Donovan Mitchell testing positive for the coronavirus. To keep fans entertained though, teams across the league have been playing out their season through NBA 2K and streaming the simulations on Twitch. Also on a positive note when it comes to the NBA, many people around the league are pitching in to help the hourly employees who were affected by the suspension of the season.
The NBA has also announced that it would make its NBA League Pass available for free through April 22nd. With this, you can watch every game from this season and classic games throughout the years.
Now when it comes to the NCAA tournament, you may be out of luck on Feeling the Madness, unless you plan on buying an old copy of NCAA Basketball 2009. You can also watch some great basketball movies on any of the popular streaming services like Netflix and Hulu. I recommend Blue Chips on Amazon Prime Video or Semi-Pro and Space Jam on Netflix. Good news for all you combat sports fans out there. MMA is still alive and kicking. And yes, that pun was thoroughly intended. UFC Brasilia took place on March 14th behind closed doors and without fans. UFC Fight Night 171 has been moved from London because of travel restrictions enacted by the US. Dana White has also announced that UFC events will continue to go on until government shutdowns are in place. For now, you can still watch people go at it in the octagon on ESPN+. But if just watching it isn't enough for you and you want to be a part of the action, you can get a copy of UFC 3. And yes, we do know that's an older video game, but we haven't heard any more news on the long-awaited UFC 4. Soccer has taken a big hit due to the coronavirus, and many leagues have shut down play, but not all of them. Liga Mexico is still having matches without fans in attendance. You can stream them on a number of platforms like ESPN Deportes and CBSSports.com. The football clubs that aren't playing in real life are still offering fans hope to see their favorite players on the pitch. Leeds United wasn't able to play their championship game against Cardiff, so they streamed the simulation on FIFA 20. The broadcast drew in 50,000 online viewers, showing that people still want to see their favorite teams play, no matter how. The NHL season announced on March 12th that it was pausing the 2019-2020 season. But similar to soccer, people are running out simulations of the entire season on NHL 20 to show that they still give a puck. And if that doesn't do it for you, you can still turn to Netflix and watch some really great hockey movies like Miracle, Goon, and more. Football wasn't as affected by the coronavirus as other sports since this isn't the season for it. But the XFL, an alternative to the NFL, did have to suspend its season on March 12th. So in other words, you probably won't be able to watch any actual live football games for a while. However, if you still need to feel the grit of the gridiron, there are plenty of football movies on streaming services.
The NFL has also announced that it would make its NFL Game Pass available for free during the coronavirus pandemic. This includes every game from the past 11 seasons, Hard Knocks, and A Football Life.
And you can always build a dynasty on Madden. Although many in-person events have been canceled due to coronavirus, esports are actually saving the day for many sports enthusiasts. Professional athletes like Dale Earnhardt Jr. have been drawing hundreds of thousands to watch them play video games of their respective sport. Pro athletes are spending their time off playing video games, so in at least some way, we can still watch them play. Young NBA star Luka Doncic for the Dallas Mavericks is playing a lot of video games while his season is on hiatus, And he even reached out on social media to try to figure out how to set up his own Twitch stream. Josh Hart of the New Orleans Pelicans, who has been an avid gamer for years and really a leading figure in meshing professional basketball and professional gaming, he joked online that now no one can make fun of him for being a video game nerd. The surge of professional athletes playing video games is not only good entertainment, but we could see it sparking organized tournaments, pro-ams, and even charity streams for this coronavirus pandemic. Us fans will have to get creative during this coronavirus pandemic, but there still are ways. And hopefully by the time NFL and college football is back on, we can pack the stadiums again to watch our favorite teams.
All right, thank you to Riley Wynn for that episode of The Deets. I know nobody was more sad about March Madness ending than Riley Wynn, so a special shout out to him right now. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's joining us here on the show. We do broadcast live here every weekday. Let me tell you what's coming up tomorrow. So on the show, we're going to have Hari Hursty, who's a cybersecurity expert subject of the upcoming HBO documentary, Kill Chain, the Cyber War on America's Elections. That's going to be a fascinating interview. I believe we also have Luke Larson, who's going to be joining us for another computing segment. And I want to say, again, thank you to all who are joining us here as we're broadcasting remotely. Thank you to the DT Live team as well, working really hard to make this happen. Jake, Mike, Kelsey, Jess, Matt, all working from their respective homes to make sure this broadcast goes on every day for you. So hit that subscribe button. We're going to be here for you throughout this, broadcasting live at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, whatever platform you want us to be on. We're probably there already, so hit subscribe and share the show. Let other people know about it and join in these conversations that we get to have here every single day. And for Digital Trends Live, I'm Greg Nibley. I'll see you right back here from my living room tomorrow.